Welcome to Behind the Drapes podcast.
I love it. Behind the Drapes. Thank you
Yes.
so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's great to have you. I'm here with my special guest, Joyce Leveston. She is Vice President of Convention Centers, or
Correct.
Senior Vice President of
I'm
Convention
Senior Vice
Centers.
President, but it's
Yes.
all good.
Yes. And so here we are broadcasting from the IAEE Expo show floor in Louisville, Kentucky. So today, what I want to do is I want to talk to you a little bit about you. I don't want to just talk about show stuff. I want to learn more about Joyce, and I want to know, what. Let's talk about how you got into this industry.
Oh, wow. So you want me to go way back. To be honest with you, I started out as a telephone operator at the San Diego Convention Center. The time 30 years ago, San Diego didn't have a convention center. And I was a very newly married military wife. And I used to go to the USO to plan trips to go visit our husbands,
Yeah.
like a little wives thing. And I watched them build the San Diego Convention Center from the ground up.
Wow.
And it was amazing to just see a whole. And then, 2 years later, there was this amazing building. And I was like, the whole time I kept saying, I'm going to work there. I'm going to work there. I was calling my counselor and I was like, listen, you're supposed to help me get a job. I'm in college, trying to finish school. But I just was like, I want to work at this place. It's going to be amazing. All these people are going to come from all over. And I just wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than myself.
And that was foreshadowing for sure. The
It
rest
was,
of your career.
it
You
did, it
manifested
did.
by
I manifested
watching
it.
that.
I said, I'm going to do it. This is what I want to do. I drove them crazy. And I got a job and I would do anything. I remember them giving me a card and it had about 8 different positions on there, telephone operator, anything. I was like, I checked all of them. They was
That's
like, what you
great.
want to do? And I checked all 8. I said, I can do all of this.
That's great. Like, I just want to be part of it. Something was drawing you there.
Yep.
So,
It did.
yeah, that's great. So you first started just getting in the building, and then you transitioned to event project management side, or
Event management. So when I graduated from college, Carol Wallace had come on by then.
Yeah.
So we had made a transition in our executive level. And I met Carol Wallace actually being introduced to the team. And I remember telling her that they didn't have a program where they allowed the employees to intern. And I said, they only take interns from the outside. And I said, I'm about to graduate from college. I want to stay here. And I wanted to be in sales. And I said, it's unfortunate because I'm going to leave here and you're going to wish you had me. I said that to her in front of everyone. And then probably like 2 days later, she called me and said, why don't you, I have an ideal for you. I know you want to do sales, but I think you'll be better in event management.
Yeah.
And she offered me an opportunity to be the first event coordinator to handle smaller seminar type events,
Sure.
1-day programs and stuff. And she said, give me 6 months. And if you don't like it, I'll help you get a sales job. I'll get you a sales job. And, 33 years later now, I've been in the industry and have come up through the ranks of venue management and events.
And so Carol was one of your first mentors in this.
She is my number one mentor. She is still mentoring me.
That's great. Yeah, it's amazing when you have somebody that you can lean on like that, and especially that can help you propel your career.
Oh, and they see things in you. People, I can tell you that my entire career has been people seeing things in me I didn't necessarily see in myself. I tried to do a good job because I wanted to make them proud for people that gave me access. But I will tell you that Carol, she just made sure that I was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
If there was opportunity, that I was given the opportunity, not necessarily given the job, but just given the opportunity to sell myself, to show what I could do and be a part of that. And then she just saw she saw these things. And I remember her telling me, because I was like, I don't really know what an event manager does, or not sure how to do this. And she gave me a book with diagram layouts. And she said, that thing I can teach you. What I can't teach you is when you walk in a room, your personality, the soft skills that you have, how you connect with people. She said, I can't teach that, and that is special. And I want you to know that you're special. When someone tells you that, you believe them.
Yeah.
I drank the Kool-Aid.
And you are. I mean, you're a magnetic personality, and we became friends years ago because of that. And I'm honored to be your friend.
So, I'm honored to be yours as well. Thank you.
And so talking about skills that or attributes that aren't. I mean, you have a hustle about you, and over the years, like I've seen it, like you get in, you run a building, but then you're already like, all right, what's next? What's next?
Absolutely.
And where does that come from within? Like, where does your hustle and drive come from?
I'm gonna tell you that I grew up. It's family. It came from a lot of women.
Mhm.
I've been raised by women. My mother is the second of 12 children. She has eight, so it's eight sisters. So I've had eight women bossing me around forever. Because she was the second oldest, we are the first generation of grandchildren. So I just lost my grandmother this year in January. She was 100 years old.
Wow.
So I come from a long history of just like women who have made a way out of no way. And so when you're around that, as I grew and being the first generation to go to college, I just carried them, my ancestors and my family on my back, like on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like they made ways for me in a sense where it's like the village raises you.
Yeah.
So my grit comes from that. My grit comes from these women that weren't educated but ran their own businesses. That grit came from, my mother worked for the hospital, University of Cincinnati Hospital for 38 years.
Wow.
To make sure that her kids got an education.
Yeah.
So when you come from that, you kind of feel like you owe them.
Oh, for sure.
And your success is important. So every day when people say, you're the only one, I'm an only a lot of times, in these spaces. And it was like, is that intimidating? And I go, absolutely not. I said, the only people who expect me not to be in the room are those people that are in the room. I expect to be there because my family expects me to be there. So for me, I'm not intimidated. I'm like, other people might be intimidated, but it certainly won't be me.
I love that. I love that. You're right in that sense of you're not doing it for the people in the room. You're doing it for the people that got you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's all the way through. And so when you carry that, and that's where I came from with my family, I did the same thing when Carol said, I see something in her, or Samuel Thomas or Greg Odell. It was like, hey, I want you to do this. I see something in her. I mean, it's been a lot of men. But it's been probably just one woman, but it's been a lot of men that have invested in my success and in my career, that have given me opportunities, that made sure I had, when I had crazy ideals, when I wanted to push something, or I just said, can we just try it? They said yes. They believed in it. They was like, she'll out hustle you. That's what they'll tell you. She's gonna out hustle you. Nobody's gonna out hustle you.
Yeah.
Joyce is gonna be there. She's gonna do it. And I'm always like, what's next? The thing I like about our industry is that a lot of people came up like that. The fact that I came up through the ranks. But if you talk to a lot of the general managers and stuff, a lot of them came up through the ranks in different ways.
Yeah.
Some of them may have just started in building services or meeting services setups.
Yeah.
And now they're running buildings. So one thing I knew and I appreciated and respect is that, you never know who your next boss is going to be, right? And so treating people with kindness and respect, and understanding how we work together as a team, the importance of team, is kind of like what my mantra has always been in terms of moving forward, because that next person is sitting to the right. That may be my next person that wants to hire me to do the next project or the next part of my journey.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Especially because we have a small, tight-knit industry too. It's very incestuous. So people, go from venues, go to show organizers, go to contractors.
Mm-hmm.
We cycle through the different types of stakeholders in this industry.
Yep.
And like you're right, you never know your next boss or the next client.
Exactly.
And people remember when you treat them good, and people remember when you treat them bad.
They remember when you treat them bad. But I got to tell you, they also, once I got the job, the only job I really interviewed for was that first job. Every opportunity I've had since then has been because someone has recommended me.
Yeah.
They have sent my name to someone. So I would get phone calls from people I don't know. I didn't know Greg Odell, and he was chasing me down for a month. And I wouldn't call him back when he was calling me. I was like, I don't know him. Why is he calling me? I'm not going to talk to him, And then I ran into him a month later at IAEE in New Orleans.
Okay.
And someone looked at him, and someone that knew me and knew him, and they said, oh, it's someone I want you to know, meet. And they take me to him and they introduce me, and he looks at me and I look at him, and we both laughed, and he's like, "Oh, so you don't call people back?" And they were like, "You know him?" And I was like, "No, he's been reaching out to me." And the whole time he wanted to reach out to me to see if I would join their team. And I had no idea that was my next opportunity.
Yeah, and that was DC, right?
And that was in DC. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And I mean, that's a testament to your character, that people know that you're a good fit anywhere, and that you'd be a good supporter of any venue.
Oh, I appreciate that. I try.
So one thing, I also notice when I talk to people in the industry that, part of what we do in the mayhem and the craziness, it either makes us really good organized at getting stuff done, or it also, I think it helps out with being a better leader too.
I would agree.
And it's like managing so many things. Now, obviously, like we talk about soft skills you have to have, to manage people. But, how do you feel about how the industry and being in this industry has helped you to be a leader?
You know what it did is taught me how to be resilient, to not be tied to one ideal so hard that you can't be flexible and adaptable. And it's also taught me how to trust my instincts, right? Because, we have an opportunity. Sometimes we have a year that it takes. This is, you got a year long that you're going to build and work with this customer and this client. And then when they leave, it's like giving birth. It's like it happened, right? You had this build up. But there's a lot of twists and turns, right? There's a plan A, but we usually end up on plan C or D. You know that. And so if you're not adaptable, if you're so wired that you can't see past, I always say, listen, it's not brain surgery, right? I'm not doing anything other than connecting with people.
Yeah.
And I was like, and in that process, it teaches you, it should teach you that it's okay to make mistakes. Things are going to change. As long as you're not tied to it, you can make an adjustment and do that. And then I just feel like this opportunity allows me to grow others because of the way I came into the industry.
You almost feel a responsibility.
I feel a responsibility. Yeah. Well, first of all, I love the industry. Yeah. I fell in love with this industry, and I realized that I learned a lot of things through other people. Like people took the time to teach me things that weren't necessarily in a book.
Right.
And so it wasn't written down, Yeah. And so it was all in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Most of our industry is not.
It's not written down.
It's still very young.
It's young. It's so. And I just remember thinking like, well, if something happened to me tomorrow, like who's our next future leader? So for me, the investment for me today is all about, and it always has been, but it's all about how much can I learn, how much can I grow, and how much can I teach, and how much can I coach the next generation. They have a lot to offer, in my opinion. And now, post-COVID, we're going to need them. We need to be growing and building our next generation, our next leaders. And so if I can be a good example of that, and then make sure that I keep the door open and bring as many leaders through, because I think leadership it changes, right? It looks different on different people, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm always looking for good leadership. When I see something, I'm like, okay, I admire that about that person. How can I take on some of those qualities? You know what I'm saying? Or I don't admire that about this person. How do I never take on that quality? Yeah.
Check yourself and make sure I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Now we ain't doing that. Yeah. But then how do we help the next generation, our young professionals?
Yeah. And you're right about that. The next generation here, and they do see things differently. And one thing that I love about that next group is they question everything. And when we were coming up, it was like we were just learning, and I mean, we questioned to make sure that we were doing our job, but it was more just about like getting your job done, learning it, and learning what they. But then they seem to question the why, and I love it.
And I love it. Yeah. And I love it. And I got to tell you, I don't know if we were necessarily. I don't feel like necessarily in my generation that was necessarily encouraged to do so.
Right.
In my opinion, it's probably one of the things that I did as a person that kind of broke the mold with me is that, I'm willing to step out in that space and take some risk, and then apologize if I made a wrong turn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I didn't necessarily have always had the leaders that appreciated that necessarily. They're like, we don't do that, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but why?
Yeah.
And they was like, well, what do you mean why? And I said, like, I don't understand. Like, why is this? We're creating an amazing brand, and this is what the customer wanted, and they have the whole building. Like, why can't they do that? And I said, is it just because we created a rule 10 years ago, and maybe what was happening 10 years ago, we needed to do that, but today life is different. And I said, and our customer, if I have to lean to the building, or to the customer, and I'm at a 50-50 or 49-51, I'm going to lean to the customer, because that customer is going to come back. They're going to appreciate that I believed in their vision and I supported it. And, I tell them everybody sells. So I just resold you another piece of business. You're welcome.
And that's what, getting that. I heard this the other day and I liked it. Like, what are you creating in a relationship? Got your back or watch your back? And
I love that.
Yeah,
I might have to steal that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I stole it. So yeah, when I heard that, I love that, because even when you talk about that customer venue relationship, you want them to feel like you got their back, not they have to watch their back, but they have to worry about the fine print and things. So.
And I tell people, like, a lot of people will say, well, you're in the facility management business, and I always say, no, I'm in the people business.
Yeah.
So It's all about our relationships. And it's about people. And if you do that right and you get people right, then the business is going to come. Then you can't help but get the business right. Yeah, exactly. But you got to first get the people right.
Yeah, opening and closing doors and making sure the lights stay on, that's the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking care of the people. That's the different part.
Yeah.
For sure. So what's next for you? Like, what's something that's you're excited to get out of bed for?
I am working through that now. I'm excited to get out of the bed every day just because, like I said, I love the industry. But I am definitely looking forward to the wind down. And so I'm at the point now where I'm looking at 10 years. So I have a birthday coming up on Friday of this week. Yes. And it's marking my intentionality in terms of where I'm going next. So believe it or not, I think what I want to do is I want to focus on something similar that we're doing now. I want to create a podcast, a podcast on leadership and development and growth and support. I want to talk to the people, right? That says, where are my next leaders at and how do we grow that? I'm looking forward to that. One of my dreams has always been to be able to do a TED Talk.
Yeah.
So one day I want to be able to do a TED Talk, but I really just want to take it on the road and encourage others, encourage them to understand and love this industry the way I love it.
That's great. And we need more of that too, because something like that would make you be an advocate for the industry. Like TED Talks, and other things, even sessions. Very few people come from our industry to become that and to give the exposure. And we definitely need that, because we need that for recruitment. We need people to know that it's exciting what we do. And
it's critical for us now, becoming post-COVID. We've lost so many people from the industry, but I believe we are resilient. One of my favorite things about coming out of, or because of COVID, not COVID was my favorite thing, but because of COVID, I feel like the level of collaboration and what has brought us together, that we're in competition, but we're not, right? We're all like they say, we're all in the same storm. We're just in a different boat, right? Yeah. But together, these are true things. There's times where before COVID, I wouldn't have been able to sit down and have certain lunches or meetings, with other people that do similar services that I provide. And today, I'm probably walking into competitive RFPs, and I'm high-fiving and hugging on the people that that I'm competing against. And some people that don't know me, they're like, who is this woman that everyone knows, or people light up when they see her, or she's giving them hugs. And I say, we're all in this together. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, if I don't win it today, you'll win it, but I'll get it next time.
Yeah.
Trust me, because I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
But I can still sit down and have a drink with them. I can have lunch with them, or I can wish them well as they enter into their next journey of retirement or whatever. And so I think it's created this level of like collaboration and partnership, and completely different from what it was prior to COVID.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the way we all kind of just stayed in touch and contact, making sure that everyone was good.
Or just was committed to rebuilding and
Yes.
coming back together,
Yeah,
which I
for
think
sure.
is
Well, I'm looking forward to your podcast. I can't wait to see when you kick that off. And well, thank you so much for being here. How do people find you on LinkedIn? And
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn, Joyce Leveston, Leveston. I'm with the Oakview Group, which is OVG360. Or they can just, find me through Oakview Group.
okay,
It's all good.
thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.